So today is Father's Day, and we look at the readings and we look at the Father. The Father is the model for all earthly fathers, and we can learn from the Father. In the first reading, Jeremiah was undergoing a lot of pressure. A lot of people who were close to him were harming him, were trying to harm him and destroy him and hurt him. And he was afraid, and he called out to God. But then he grew in confidence. He said, God, you are with me. No one can hurt me because you will protect me. I will prevail. You will not let my enemy win. Right? He knows for sure that God is close to him, that he will protect him, that he cares for him, that he doesn't abandon him. So that is how God the Father is. What about earthly fathers? Earthly fathers too, you are to protect your children, provide for your children, care for your children, be present for your children. That's your role as fathers. That's your responsibility, right? You're the protector of the family. You're the man of the house. You need to make them feel safe and secure and provided for. Children need that. They look to you. They look to their father. They look to their daddy to give them comfort, security, safety. So do you provide for your children? When I was younger, my dad worked 3 different jobs to provide for the family. There were 4 of us, right? He worked hard to provide, to make sure that we have enough. And he was a man's man, right? I felt safe when I was with him. No one could hurt me. No one can take advantage of me when I'm with my father. I did a paper route when I was a little kid, and there was a man who would not pay me. And so I told my dad, and he said, let's go to the man's house. And we went to the man's house, and he knocked on the door, and he said, why won't you pay my child? Right? So he protected me, he defended me, he provided for me. I felt safe and secure with him. And so that's a role for all fathers, to imitate God the Father, to be present, to protect, and to provide for your children. And then in the gospel reading, we hear more about God the Father. Jesus tells us that 2 sparrows, they're worth 1 coin. They're not worth much, but not one of them fall to the ground without the Father knowing about it. And then all the hairs on our head are counted by the Father. He knows us intimately. He is close to us. He loves us. He's always with us. He doesn't abandon us. He isn't distant. He's not absent. What about reality? What about earthly fathers? We have too many absent fathers. They're either working or socializing or whatever, but their children don't even know them. Their children miss them. A lot of children grow up without a father. They don't have a role model. They need a father figure. They need both parents. But a lot of times the father is absent for one reason or another. He doesn't even know his children. The children don't even know their father. They grow up and they're very distant. I see families now not even having dinner together. Everybody has their phone. Everybody eat when it's convenient, wherever it's convenient. People don't talk anymore. People don't know each other anymore. And we know that children grow up so fast. Before you know it, they're out of the house. So time is short. You have a limited window to spend time with your children, to be their role model, to know what they're going through, to know their problems, to know their joys, to share that time together. It's quality time. It's important time that they will remember for the rest of their lives. When I was younger, even though my dad worked many jobs and he was busy, he always took time to be with me. On the weekend, we would wake up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. This was when we were in Denver. And we would drive up to the mountains in the middle of winter, go out on the frozen lake, dig a hole, and ice fish. It doesn't sound exciting, but I will always remember it because my father was with me. He took the time to take me somewhere, right? So that's quality time. That's bonding time. That's important. Don't neglect that. Father, know your children. Spend time with your children. Learn about them. Be close to them. And then lastly, we hear in the second reading, the Father gives eternal life. He gives life to his children. Through Adam, sin and death entered the world, but through God the Father and Jesus, we are given life, eternal life with God. And so earthly fathers too are to give life to their children. Not just physical life, of course, physical life, you need to sustain them, but their spiritual life, their eternal life, their soul. You're responsible for that. Right? So what does that mean? That means you have to be the spiritual leader of the family. You have to make sure that they are educated in the faith, that they receive their sacraments, that they go to church, that they pray, that they live a holy life. That's your responsibility. But somehow you've delegated that or abdicated that to the mother, the wife, or nobody. That's your responsibility. Your children have been entrusted to you. And when you die, you will have to give an account of how you provided for your children. God will ask you, what did you do with the children I gave you? How did you take care of them? Did you care for their soul? Did you make sure that they were saints? Did you make sure that they would go to heaven? Did you teach them the faith? Did you make sure they go to Mass and to pray and to live a holy life? How will you answer? That's your responsibility. And then lastly, that is the 3 points, right? So this homily isn't just for fathers, but it's for mothers, for children, right? This is what we should expect in fathers. We're to imitate God the Father, especially with those 3 qualities that we see in today's reading. So the first one is to protect and to provide for your children. The second one is to be close and intimate and knowledgeable about your children. And then the third is to give them life, eternal life, spiritual life, life with the Father. Then you will resemble God the Father.